Hey guys, check it out. I finally have a microphone that's working. I always assumed that it was picking up this microphone from all my videos, but it was picking up the microphone from my small webcam that I got for $15 like 2 years ago. So that's why everything else sounds like sadness and the tears of orphans. So, my apologies. Now, onto the story. So, this story starts when I was a junior in high school. Little old me was playing Cards Against Humanity with my friends at my friend's house. It was probably six or seven of us, and it was a lot of fun. Cards Against Humanity is a freaking hilarious game. Absolutely loved it. And I knew almost everyone there except one person. For the life of me, I could not place her. Like, she looked so familiar, but I could not remember where I knew her from. But I didn't say anything. I was like, well, she's my age, so no stranger danger or anything. I assumed we went to the same school. That's where I saw her. Well, we go through that night. It was amazing. It was so much fun. Loved it. 10 out of 10. Love Cards Against Humanity. One of my favorite card games. The next day, I get a text message from an unknown number. It was her. Let's call her Mia, for lack of a better name. I don't know. But I read the message and it says, "Hey, this is Mia, blah, blah, blah." It was a bunch of pleasantries, and then she said where she got my number from. So she got it from my cousin who was also there. We were all playing together. So I texted him. I was like, "Man, you can't give people my number." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't see any harm in it." If this were a movie, that would be freaking foreshadowing. So she texted me some more that day. I respond to probably one out of every five text messages. I'm not interested. I'm sure she was a good person at some point, but I wasn't interested. So uh, the weekend passes and we go back to school. I see her and then instantly remember where I saw her from. She was in my typing class. She sat across the room and like one row up, something like that. So later in the week, she started popping up around school where I was, and I found that strange since I never really interacted with her before that. Why is she just popping up places now? Some more time goes on, and I start to notice that she pops up places where I was outside of school. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And as more time went on, I realized it was only when I was with my cousin. Because what he does, and I didn't know this until a little later, he was, posting all his activities on Facebook and everything, saying, "Hey, I'm going here, doing this, and who I'm with and everything." That's what he liked to do. I didn't really have social media or anything, so I didn't really know that this was happening at that time. Well, like in crowds and stuff, because we have fairs, a lot of fairs where I grew up. She would always be looking in the crowd, and then when she noticed me, she'd like stick around the area where I was, and then I'd move, and then she would move, but she would never like come talk to me or anything. So that was kind of freaking creepy. Well, probably 2 weeks later or something, my cousin and we were going to the movies. Well, we were early, and we decided to go to the mall and go to GameStop, maybe pick up a video game or something. So we were in GameStop, and then all of a sudden, she comes around the corner acting surprised to see us there at the GameStop that my cousin posted we were at. And around this time, like, I figured out that he was like posting stuff. And the second I saw her, I was like, "Bro, you have to stop posting where we are. This is getting out of hand." And he didn't know anything about this at the time. But I was like, she's been following me. He was like, no. I was like, yeah, this kind of getting creepy. So she came up to us, acting surprised that we were where he said we were, and it was just so freaking weird. I don't know. Like, we both had to pretend we didn't know what was going on. Like, I had to pretend she wasn't following me, and she had to pretend like she wasn't stalking. It was just a very strange interaction. Well, after that, my cousin understood like what I was talking about and realized that, oh crap, she a little nutty. She's actually following you. So after that point was hammered across. We kind of like we went to the movies still, and she sat by us. It was very awkward, and like the reason her side of the story was just so freaking unbelievable that she was just there going to see a movie was in order to go see a movie at the theater where I lived, you had to drive an hour. Well, it was an hour to the mall, it was an hour to the theater, and she was by herself. High school, how do I say it? I found it extremely unbelievable that a high school girl was by herself an hour away to see a movie by herself, to pick up a game from GameStop by herself. And it just so happened that's where we were, and it just so happened she would pop up everywhere I was. It was it was unsettling to say the least. It was very uncomfortable. Well, that whole interaction happened, and about a week, maybe two later, this is when like the most significant thing happened. And thank goodness I was never in any physical danger. It was just unsettling and creepy and overall wasn't good. But what happened was I got a text message from her saying, "Hey, I'm at your house." It was about 9 at night, and I I didn't respond. I was just in my room in the dark, just on my phone watching YouTube. Well, I just completely ignore the text message, and I get another one saying, "Hey, are you home?" After she said she was at my house. Well, my parents weren't home. It was just me there. I have no idea how she got my address. No idea. So, where I live, the houses, they don't sit on the ground, they're raised up because I lived in a more swampy area. So there was a lot of water. You had to raise your house. Well, a little while later, after reading the messages, I hear on my window. I don't know if you heard that, but let me tap again. I heard on my window. She had to climb up on the central AC unit of the house and stretch, because it wasn't a short distance. She had to stretch her way to tap on my window. I was like, what the is going on here? How did she get my address? How did she know what window was mine? That was so freaking unsettling. I am so thankful that I wasn't in any physical danger or anything, because if she was crazy enough, that could have gotten spicy. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to think about it. But I just sat there like completely frozen. I turned my phone off, like the phone screen. So it was just completely dark in my room just in case she was like trying to peek through or something. I have no idea. But 30 minutes later, she left. And thank goodness, like the next week was the last week of school. And the following year, she dropped out. So I didn't really have any problems after that, thankfully. But that could have been a lot worse than it was, and I am extremely thankful it wasn't. It was crazy. Don't stalk people. Just if someone responds to one out of every 5 messages, doesn't talk to you in class or really make eye contact, maybe don't follow them around. Perhaps not the best idea. I don't know. It was just so freaking creepy. I hope that never happens to anyone. But I don't know, hopefully you enjoyed the story, because it was an interesting experience. And that was the first. This is going to be a 3-part series, so buckle up.